Welcome back, everybody, to the Ninjas Way of podcast. Today, we are joined by Mike Cook. He is a builder, he's a mentor, he's an entrepreneur, and he is the owner of UBW, which is the ultimate backyard warrior. So, Mike, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you for inviting me. I look forward to the interview. And naturally, I'm thinking you're doing a great job as I watched Glenn's interview last week. And I'm proud to be part of your podcast.
Awesome. Appreciate
Awesome.
that. So, give us the beginning story. What got you into ninja? I mean, I'm sure you didn't just start with a big old ninja course in your backyard.
I did not. I'm actually here at home. I could show you, but it's pretty grown up here where it started at. But I will give you a little midget of what got me to Ninja Warrior. I got invested in a deal. Some attorneys asked me to invest in a deal back in 2011, and they needed to borrow some money and to finish up a transaction. And long story short, they were getting scammed and didn't know it. And I loaned them $1.5 million and they couldn't pay me back. And I had $8.5 million worth of life insurance. And I said, I didn't see any way to recover. I said, I'm going to commit suicide. And I said, my family be taken care of and everybody I owe will be taken care of. So I tried, and thank God I'm here. He blessed me to try to make a change and a difference in people's lives. So I lived through it, thank God, or you wouldn't be talking to me today. And but I was by me loaning that $1.5 million, it was supposed to be a short-term loan. It had me in a financial pinch, and I watched American Ninja Warrior, and I always said, "Man, how does anybody fall? That stuff's so easy." And I every time I'd watch an episode, it just tear my nerves up. I'm like, these people must not never practice or nothing. And so I was like, you know what? I can win the $1 million, help get me back squared up. I said, I'm going to apply to get on the show. I'm going to win the $1 million and I'm going to train for it because obviously these people ain't been training. I built 9 obstacles, which the first one was a salmon ladder, warp wall, and then a few things in between. And I just knew the salmon ladder was going to be easy. Without a doubt, I knew it was going to be easy, and I couldn't do it. And I was like, what in the heck? And I was like, there's no way. That's supposed to be easy. I know I could do it. I finished building it at 12:05 on a Saturday. And my wife and kids, every 5 minutes, I'm like, video me, video. I'm gonna get it this time. I'm gonna get it this time. I did that until it was completely dark outside, and I never got it. And I said, I'll get it tomorrow morning before I go to church. So the next morning, I get up, I go out there. I hurt so bad I can't even do a pull up, and I'm like, oh my god. And it took me to the following Saturday. And after about 3 tries the following Saturday, I actually was able to get up the salmon ladder. And naturally, I kept practicing, and I got really good. And then I started doing the other obstacles and tying them all together. And my head got about as big as a watermelon, and I thought I was the best thing since sliced bread. And I was like, this is the reason everybody had the same idea I did, that they could go and win it because it looked so easy. Now I've trained, I'm definitely going to win it. And I go get my first opportunity, get on the course, and I fall on the fourth obstacle. I don't believe it was because of my abilities. I tried to attack it differently, and it was you hit a trampoline, jump 8 foot over water to just a bar hanging down, and you had to grab 3 tires that were just shaped different, but they were cupped out on the inside where you didn't really get any good grip. You maybe had an inch and a half. And everybody was jumping that went in front of me, and they were hitting it, and it was bruising them, and they were taking a hit. And I'm like, man, they're doing it wrong. And I'm gonna go to the side, grab it to the side. I'm gonna swing, immediately grab the tires, and I'm going through it. And it did not work out anything like I planned. I grabbed to the side, boy. I went to spinning around the pole, and I'm going down the pole, and I'm like, I got to reach out. I'm getting out of distance where I can't even touch the tire, and I reach out to try and grab it, and naturally didn't have enough and fell in the water. And I come back, and my wife, she gonna give it up. And I'm like, heck no. She said, what are you going to do? I said, I got to build more stuff. I got to get faster and stronger and definitely smarter.
No, this absolutely sounds like a ninja's journey.
Yeah.
You just get a little taste for it, and then gotta do more, gotta do more.
I love that this traumatic life event had pushed you towards wanting to do ninja. And that's just what it is. Oh, it looks so easy. It's give it a try. It takes me a whole week to get this salmon ladder. Okay, so now you're doubling down. Your wife's, what are you gonna do? You're like, I'm all in. So you start building some more obstacles. How did UBW come into the picture?
While I was in Orlando, my first opportunity to do Ninja Warrior, and I had met, I was just naturally got a shirt on, Daniel Gill, give him a plug, Kingdom Ninja. And so I had met Daniel. That was his first year on the show, and he wasn't running in Orlando. I didn't know he had already run in Houston and had the fastest time of the night. And he was like a nobody to me. And he comes walking around, everybody's just, hey, Daniel, hey, Daniel. I'm like, who's this guy with this good looking hair think he is? He's not even running, and everybody just knows who he is. I'm like, I ain't never even heard of the kid. And so I meet Daniel and really didn't know much about him, but I met the craziest ninja I ever met in my entire life was John Brown. Naturally, I'm older than most ninjas. And so I'm sitting out there with a pre workout drink and trying to reserve every bit of energy. They got you corralled in a little metal fence system, and they treat you back then, they treat you like cattle. And I'm like, man, I need 30 minutes to get warmed up and drink my energy drink, and I'm going to be good. And I'm reserving myself. And John Brown is out there drawing obstacles on the concrete at the Universal Studios, which is where we're at. And he's running the obstacles and he's sweating like a dog. And I'm like, this has got to be the biggest idiot in the world. He ain't going to have no energy when it's time to run. And he's just going at it. And naturally, I went over and introduced myself. And you know how it is. You get to meet people. But I was watching John and I was like, John, what do you do for a living? He said, I train, I run obstacles. And I'm like, so what's your plan? He said, win $1 million. I said, what if that don't happen? He said, that's why I'm gonna win $1 million. I said, that's my plan too. And both our plans ain't gonna work out. Naturally, that was my kind of initial start with John Brown. And so he gets to run, and everybody that ran in front of him, they had a rolling log, they throw them in the, it throws them in the water.
Yeah.
And John gets up to the platform and looks at it, takes 2 steps back because it ain't much, and he runs and jumps and flips over the rolling log to 14 and a half foot to the landing pad. And everybody's, oh my God. And I said, this guy's, he's got to be the craziest person in the world. Just incredible from what I had been introduced to in my life. I played football, basketball, tennis, and baseball. And it was never like you against the obstacles. It was you against somebody else.
Right.
And so it was very new to me to see everybody cheering everybody on and really wanting everybody to succeed. Because naturally, especially nowadays, I want to see somebody get it, because that means if I train hard enough, I got a chance of getting it. So when I come back, John's only plan was to win $1 million, and that didn't happen. So when my wife asked me what I was going to do, I said, I got to build more stuff. I got to get faster and stronger. She said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to see if John Brown wants to come up here and help me. I said, he's the craziest person I've ever met. I believe he can push me and make me faster and stronger. So I called John. I said, John, I'm going to add more to my course. Would you like to come up here and help me? And since you ain't got a plan B, he said, yeah. He said, when you want to come? When you want me to come? I said, can you come here tomorrow? And yeah. So I called my wife. I said, get him a plane ticket and have him here tomorrow. And so he came, stayed 3 months. And that was the beginning of really UBW. I had 9 obstacles. I built 97 obstacles total before my first competition in my backyard. And back then, you didn't let John build, but you let him test everything. He'd tell you what you need to do to push yourself, but he put some rickety stuff together that you don't want to trust your life on. I learned real quick. I was like, John, no, you can't. You just tell me what to build. I'll build it, and you try it out, and then you push me to make sure I can do it. And so he ended up becoming like my redheaded stepchild, the one you love and want to spank at the same time. And he really did. He pushed me, encouraged me, and as we finished the 97 obstacles, I was building them originally for me just to train on to give me the advantage of winning the show. God came to me and said, Mike, I'm not giving you this opportunity to win the money. I'm giving you this opportunity to bring people to Christ. And it was like, man, busted me right in the face, a 180. I'm like, son, I'm sitting here thinking this was going to be my opportunity to win this money back that I lost. My intentions changed, didn't care nothing about the money. And John, won't you hold competitions here in your backyard? People can come here, you can gauge yourself and see what you need to work on. First competition in September of 2015, and that's where it started from.
Mike, take us back. Was your faith this strong before you had to overcome that adversity when you talked about in the beginning here? What was your faith like when you were struggling with suicide?
I'm glad you asked, because that's the favorite thing I like to talk about. The church that I attend, which I'm a pastor also, but the church I attend and I helped start it, I was the 8th member 30 years ago come November. And I wore every hat in the church, from treasurer to sound man to growth group leader to youth pastor. Every hat you could wear, I wore in the church. And I did everything you could do, giving, being there, a good steward. But I never had a relationship with Jesus Christ until January 2013, after what I went through. I never heard his voice audible. I naturally, to reflect on anything, my conscience, or I'd get a feeling, or you always say, God, give us a sign, and then a billboard pop up. I never had an audible voice that I could ever say I heard God or talked to him. And January 2013, after what I went through, I started communicating with him. And every day since January 2013, I've gotten up between 2:30 to 3:30 in the morning. I spend 2 hours with him before I do anything else. And it's been life changing. I tell people, in my church, we have over 1,500 members, 3 campuses. I would say that maybe 95% of the people in our church do not have a relationship with Jesus Christ. And they do the same thing I was doing for all those years, just going through the motions, making sure that you were being a good person, a good steward, good Christian. But you, just like us, we're getting to know each other. And until you know each other and spend time with them, you can't build a relationship with anybody, especially God. And through spending it, I always used to say this, I'm going to back up. I always used to say, man, I'm going to read the Bible this year, the whole Bible all the way through. I'll get home in the evenings. I'd be so tired, never do it, never crack the Bible open. I'd say, I'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow never came. When I made the commitment January 2013, I started getting up every morning. I believe our first fruits is our time, is what God wants. So many churches talk about tithing. It's not even in the New Testament. It's in the Old Testament before Jesus Christ came. And so we use tithing to keep the doors of the church open, pay bills, pay pastors, staff, and all that. You're supposed to give and give cheerfully. What God wants, he don't need our money in his economy. Naturally, he wants to use our money if we're willing to give to extend his kingdom, but he wants our time. That's the most valuable thing we have that we can never get back once it's gone. You can be wealthy, lose it, regain wealth, have a house get foreclosed on, buy another one, a car get repoed, buy another one. You can be married, get a divorce, get remarried. Once your time's gone, it's gone. That's the most valuable thing we own. It ain't what's in the bank. And it took me going through what I went through because I thought my security was in Christ. When I lost all that money in the bank account, I didn't have that reliance to lean on. And I fell apart like a $3 bill. And I don't know anybody could have been a stronger, what I say, Christian at the time than I was. But my circumstances, I felt like I made a bad decision. Everything I'd worked so hard for, I lost. And my first wife passed away. I gave her a kidney August 1st, 2003. She lived to January 26, 2010. And so my kids had experienced the loss of their mother, and they got past it. And that stupid mentality and stupid thinking, I was like, I can take care of them financially, take care of everybody I owe with this life insurance. They got through their mama's passing, they'll get over me. Stupid thinking. I believe it's the enemy. And I just couldn't see past my circumstances as much as I loved Christ and thought I was doing the right thing, but I never had a relationship. And I thank God for what I went through, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I'd be doing the same thing, which is insanity, expecting different results, but yet never seeking Christ and spending time with him. I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it does. And the reason why I asked that is because there's a couple things when you said that, like you didn't find Christ or God after your attempted suicide or whatever you're dealing with. You were you had faith before that. So you practiced it. So that is to be human. And that's pretty powerful because it's not like you just had this epiphany after this tragedy. It's you were trying to live that way before. And it still happens to the best of us, whether you're struggling with faith or not. No, that's powerful.
Thank you.
I appreciate you sharing that. I think that gives a lot of perspective to Christians that are just trying to go through the motions or check the boxes, but actually intentionally spending time, because that is the thing that we can't get back. And it's like you're doing it 2 hours in the morning before the whole world is even awake. But maybe in that silence and the world is shut off, that's where you're able to hear him and connect with him the best. Is that why you choose that time of the day?
Everything you just said is accurate. I choose it because when I first wake up, I want to give him my first fruits, and I believe that he deserves it, and that's what he wants. Just think of this: if you've got kids, if you got mom and dad that's still alive, if you just call and check on them, I'm just saying this. How many times do we call people when we need them? And I'm sure y'all have got friends or family members or acquaintances that you know that you hate to see their phone call come. They always call because there's something going on. They need to borrow money or something to that effect. If we're made in the image of God and our universe down here is a reflection of heaven, naturally, we don't have the crap to deal with when we get up there that we're dealing with here. But if he made us in his image and we're working the same way, I can imagine if the only time you go, naturally, this is my opinion, you only go to him in a time of need. You never reach out and check on them. Hey, Papa, how you doing? I just wanted to let you know I love you. I want to lift you up and just tell you thank you so much for what you've done. Whatever the conversation may be, it sets the whole atmosphere in a different realm to me. When you begin, then you start, the more you pick up and you talk, you're picking up the phone, and then you start to get to know each other and know, just like me and Allie and myself, we talking and we communicate, and then you get to trust me. And then what happens is you say, Mike, will you check on my dogs? You give me the key to your house. When we become trustworthy, then he allows us opportunities and gives us the keys to the kingdom and gives us full access to what he's already deposited in us and shows us how to utilize what he's deposited in us. Me getting up early in the morning, back to your question, I don't want to get sidetracked. I'll go to preaching in a minute. I do it because I believe that's what he deserves, is our first fruits. And then plus it sets the day. Don't get me wrong. I don't everything go 100% perfect, but it's all diffused because of that morning time that I spent with him. Everything's diffused. I handle things totally different since 2013, and nothing gets to me. I start laughing if something negative happens, and I joke around like the devil's picking on me. He's giving somebody else a break. And naturally, pre 2013, I'm stressing trying to commit suicide because I couldn't handle it. And so things have changed, but I always like to look at things in the real life. If you called somebody and checked on them every day, they wouldn't. They would flinch if you called them at 12 o'clock. Hey, Mike, is everything okay? You normally call me at 3 in the morning, and you're like, hey, I just need to lift up a brother of mine or sister of mine. I can't touch them. I can't lay hands on to heal them. But I was wondering if you could just take care of them for me. Absolutely, because we've built a relationship.
Do you actually sleep? Because you seem pretty high energy.
I normally, even with the summertime, I normally go to bed in the evenings between 5:45 to 6:30, and I'm asleep within 15 minutes of laying in the bed. And then I'm up between 2:30 to 3:30 at the latest. And I tell people, coffee and Jesus, you can set the world on fire. 2 cups of coffee and Jesus, boy, and I'm loaded.
God hits you in the face and says, hey, you aren't supposed to be using this course for your own selfish training, but you should be hosting competitions for other people. So for listeners that have no idea what UBW even is, can you give us like, what is UBW and what was your intention when you started out doing these competitions?
UBW, when I first did it, we had it spelled out, Ultimate Backyard Warrior. And that's what they called me on the show, just because of what I'd built in the backyard, and which was only 9 obstacles, but it looked grand when you see pictures and video. And then that, can you only imagine, after 97 were built, and then I actually got to 113 before I actually stopped doing it in my backyard. So we shortened it to UBW for marketing purposes, is where UBW came from, out of Ultimate Backyard Warrior.
What was your intention with starting this, and what kind of experience were you hoping to give to people?
When God came to me and said, I'm not giving you this opportunity to win the money on the show, I'm giving you this opportunity to bring people to Christ. And then John said, you ought to host a competition in your backyard. You ain't got to travel. You can gauge yourself against other people. Nobody has this kind of stuff to get on. And naturally, because of doing it in the backyard, things were lifelike to the show. If you rent a building and put an engine in, because of the cost of square footage, things are compressed and you don't get the real feel of big moves and stuff like that. And the backyard gave that opportunity for big moves, or even bigger than the show. After hosting the first competition, I had the opportunity to baptize somebody. I was like, y'all, we're here on a weekend. Everybody's out of place, can't do Ninja Church. Let's have Ninja Church out here. And I brought in a band to play over the weekend. I brought in an 18-wheeler flatbed. So we had a stage, and they're like, absolutely. That's where the Ninja Worship Band started from, was in my backyard. We put together, we probably had 40, 45 people show up to the first Ninja service, which we did before the competition started back on Sunday. And then just to see the relationships and the impact that it had on the ninjas, and then ninjas started coming out of the woodwork, because a lot of people, it takes somebody to be bold and state their faith and show their faith. There's so many people undercover Christians because they don't feel that they can openly talk about Christ. And so they may love Christ and try to follow Christ, but they just keep it quiet because they don't want to ruffle any feathers. I'm totally the opposite. I don't want to force feed Christ on nobody, but I want people to see Christ through me. I want to be his hands and feet. I'm not going to be ashamed to talk about him. That's just me. I was like, this is what God's talking about. This is my opportunity to use it as a draw. And then from right then, I never cared nothing. This sounds bad, y'all, for being in the ninja world. I cared nothing about the competition itself. I cared nothing about it. It was just an avenue to get people here to talk to them about the Lord, to love on them, to encourage. And y'all know yourself, being involved in the ninja community, it's different. It is really different. And people love on each other. They get connections I've never seen in athletics before. And I'm not saying other athletics don't give people some opportunities. I've just never seen the connection that I experienced in ninja. And then it spills over. And then naturally the show it's a family show from every age, from kids to adults. So it appeals to so many people. So you've got a drawing opportunity for so many people to be engaged and to love on. I believe Christ is love, and people got to see love first before they ever want to see Christ. And we're supposedly representing them if we say that we're disciples or followers of Christ. But you know yourself, a lot of people like to have been sucking on a lemon their whole life, and they say they're Christians, and who wants to follow them around them?
For people that are in the ninja world, your comp is popular. It's talked about a lot. How about people that haven't? Tell us about some of the prizes and giveaways you've done in the past.
Prior to, I'm gonna say, COVID, because things changed. COVID changed a lot of businesses being able to give. I always, naturally, I believe big money, big gifts draw people, and then naturally big payouts, not just first and second. I gave 10 places for every age group. The first 10 people won money. So that brings a lot of people in. The most money I've given away, I ain't gonna say we didn't give it away, but I had the opportunity to give away, was 50 grand. One person could have won 50 grand if they cleared all 4 stages. And Caden Lesbick, it got down to the very last obstacle and fell on stage 3, which he'd got the rope climb, which was stage 4. He was a hair away. But traditionally, we give away 20 to 25 grand in prize money. We try to give away 1 to 2 cars. It started out, I'd give it to the grand champion. And then I was like, you know what? My whole thing was about getting people to come to church and hear the word. If y'all, I don't know if y'all have ever interviewed Jessie Graff, but you ought to, but they let her tell her story, but about UBW. But I sat there and I said, everybody who comes to church, your name's going to go in a pot and you got a chance to win a car. And so I took it away from the grand champion when I went back to 1 car. And so everybody would come to church, and Jesse Graff was telling, I said, I give them a redemption or rerun if anybody fell on stage 3, if you came to church and you got a chance to win a car. And Jesse said she had an argument with God, said, if you want me to get up and be at church, you'll wake me up in time. And because I'm not planning on going. And this is ridiculous. And he woke her up at 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. And she was so mad. And she came to church and said she absolutely loved it. But she tells it even better than I do. But so I'm just, if you think of Jesse and that meaning something to her, I use any tool or avenue I can to get people to just come hear the word. If I ever go down in history as having something as I love you, but Jesus loves you more, if anything can ever be coined by me, I truly love people. I don't care what color you are, if you are Republican, Democrat, Independent. I may have a different thought pattern than somebody, but I truly love you. I don't care if you want to argue with me because of my beliefs. I don't care. I love you. I don't get in an argument anyway. I love people. I love people for who they are. I don't love people for their past. I love for what they can be in Christ. And I believe that's what we're called to do. And Ninja just gives me the opportunity to just love on people, to lift them up, encourage them. And I'm sticking to that.
That's what you hear about UBW. I unfortunately haven't had the experience of actually being there, but it's on my ninja bucket list for sure. From ninja church to baptisms in the water of the courses. So tell me a little bit about what your plans are for future competitions and where do you want to take UBW?
Last year on Memorial Day of 2024, and then this Memorial Day, Sam Folsom, Matt Bradley, Luke Dillon, and Michael Bellion. This was 2024. They came to me and said, Mike, we want to help you run the UBW. We want to help you design obstacles, help run the competition. If y'all do any competitions any size, how much work is involved? I normally check out 1 week before and I go to building like crazy, fixing anything that's messed up, and it's overwhelming. Naturally, I got real life that I'm doing every day, working or whatever at that time. So I check out 1 week prior to it and just go to work and work crazy hours trying to put everything together. And they came to me and asked me, could I help? I said, absolutely. So we didn't talk about paying for airfare. We didn't talk about any money, anything. They fly in a week early or 5 days early of last year, and they go to working like you ain't never seen. And they needed something. They had me building stuff at a machine shop, and they needed something, they'd stop, go to Lowe's, pay for it. Sunday night after competition, I said, y'all want to meet with y'all Monday after Memorial Day Monday before anybody goes back home. And so we get down there early, and I was like, y'all tell me why y'all want to do this. They said, Mike, this is an honor. Man, we just love what you're doing. We want to partner with you. We want to be part of it. I said, yeah, we never talked about money, me reimbursing you for flights. Y'all bought material. And they're like, we're not worried about it. That's an investment we don't mind putting. I was like, you can't do that. These kids are 18 to 21 years old. I'm like, you can't do that, y'all. You can't come here and expecting nothing. They're like, no, we want to. I'm like, no. And Matt Bradley, y'all, this is crazy. I said, man, how much you spent? Because he was spending all kinds of money. I don't know. I ain't kept up with it. I said, bro, you got to have an idea what you spent. He's, man, I don't know. I don't care. I won't plan on getting reimbursed. Long story short, he has spent like $1,800, y'all.
Oh, wow.
He won't even planning on getting paid back. And I'm like, no. I have to get home and look at my bank statement because I won't planning on getting paid, so I won't keep up with nothing. And so naturally, I blessed them against their will. I paid them back for their plane tickets. I reimbursed them for their money. And I said, do y'all want to do it next year? He said, absolutely. And so they came this year. They revamped everything. And you ain't never seen kids, and I'm saying kids, young adults work so, and it's an absolute blessing. And they know all I want is to love on people. And it's given me an opportunity because I was so busy running the competition and it had grown so big that I couldn't have that one-on-one time with people. When people wanted to talk, I was running from point A to point B from this competition, from timing it to running it, announcing it. And it had gotten too big for me. And everybody says, I'll help you. But when it comes down to it, don't get me wrong, I got a lot of parents that step in and help time and stuff of that nature. But when it comes down to building, preparing, and actually running it, it's hard to find people or people of knowledge or experience. And these kids have brought it to the table. They have been a blessing. I love them. And then this year, we had Evan White came this year, and I want to come back next year. You talking about somebody crying, y'all? Baby, I was crying. just to think that I've got something that God has given me the opportunity that other people want to be part of, and to just lock arms with me to carry it on. Because at some point in time, things normally run a whatever their term is, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. Things normally find an end at some point in time. These guys have given me like fresh wind to partner with me, and they want to continue to do it. And my intention is do it until God calls me home. And these kids I didn't do anything but build obstacles prior to the event. They ran all the courses, all the timing, and I was able to just love on people, share with people, lift up people, encourage people. And it's just, I'm so thankful for them.
It sounds like you, by default, what you initially created has actually built you a great team.
I'd say amen to that. Amen.
And isn't it cool that this new age of these young kids that grew up in Ninja and now have such a heart for the sport, and they have the knowledge, they've been in the gym since they were young kids, and now they can come and put you in a space where you can do what you really wanted to do in the first place. And now these kids can pick up the other side of it, of the timing and the obstacle designing, and how awesome it is that they just committed their time to come out and make sure that all happened. And that's very cool to think about what the future of UBW looks like, with it being in the hands of these true homegrown ninja kids, right?
I'm known for I'm going to say less than 10, probably 5 creative obstacles that I've made that anybody that's come to UBW, they talk about to this day. And some of them they absolutely love. Some of them they got a love-hate relationship with. And but I used to think I was creative, but these kids are coming up with things that they're like, Mike, can you help us make this? And I'm like, absolutely. But do you think it's even going to be doable? And then I'll go make it because they told me. And then boom, first time, Matt, Sam, Lou, Evan, they just kill it. And I'm like, I know it's doable, but I can't even do it. I just made it. And I can't even do it. And but it's incredible to see their thinking and their mindset and what they can come up with nowadays. Is because you know yourself, thank God that Ninja Warrior brought back some old obstacles last year for this season, this showing, because they just gone absolutely berserk.
You're spot on, and that's the progression of the sport. And we talk about this all the time, and you just nailed it. Like, you're experiencing it too. My background is building as well. I'm 20 some years licensed contractor. I don't practice much anymore, but that's still part of the passion, is building this stuff. And just like you said, the ninjas, hey, you should do this. I'm like, that's not even some, like, what are you talking about? That's not even doable. And then, like you say, they do it the first try. You're like, oh God, I didn't even think that would be possible.
When they first got introduced to you flipping the box and grabbing the little inch and a half sloped ledge, I'm like, bruh, first of all, who's going to be able to flip it and grab? That's never going to happen. And now you just go through World Ninja League, and it was naturally your top ninjas. That won't even a struggle for them. I'm like, me and Grant were running the trick station at World Ninja League, and I'm sitting there watching them. It's just amazing. I'm sitting there blown away. I'm like, and I'm so thankful because it pushes their abilities. And then again, I look at it, I'm like, if I train hard enough, I'll be able to do it one day. And because it's doable when you see somebody else do it.
Yeah.
So talking obstacles, let's go full circle. Can you still do the salmon ladder?
Oh yeah, I can send you plenty of videos. I can promise you this: I was never ever going to go out on the salmon ladder, ever. If that ever happened, if you go back and look at my previous videos, I believe, if I'm not saying it wrong, you know how people get on top of the bar and they throw it up over their head.
Yeah.
I believe I was the first one to ever do that back in 2015. And naturally you get creative. I can come up backwards. I can swing, come up over, and I can do a bunch of different things. I can jump 2 at a time on traditional 1-foot rungs. I can promise you it was nothing like that when I got started. I was swinging so big, if I'd have peeled off, I had no mats. And John Brown, he said, you better get some mats. Ain't nobody coming here if you don't get no mats. I'm like, bro, that makes you hold on stronger. And nobody's going to come and put their life in danger if you ain't got no mats. So I've got in touch with a mattress company and got like 115 mattresses, and what I put out here at my course at the house. But everything I did was no mats, and it was all height. But I can tell you this, I had a death grip it probably kept me until I got to my real gym from doing some crazy moves because I had some safety there with the real mats. But the salmon ladder became very easy to me really quick.
It sounds like your gym started in your backyard. You say now your real gym. So has this moved to an actual location? What's the status of that?
Yeah, back in September 2016, I had a little over 2,000 people here at my house for Labor Day competition. And man, I had a deal worked out with the school, which is a mile away from me. I bought 2 transit buses. I kept one here at my house, one at the school. And when people would park, they park at the school and they would switch out, come, and the other one would go back. And they got a new principal. And the old principal didn't tell the new principal. So they go down there and the whole school's full of cars, and they come down here going to tow everybody's car, and I'm like, oh, bro, we got all these people here, just calm down. So I got the sheriff on the phone. They called the old principal, and they forgot to tell them, so they let us stay for that. But then they came back and said I couldn't use the facility, and the town said I was running a business in my backyard, and that they were going to stop me from doing it. I had to go through this big long thing and send out things to all the residents of the county. They had to come, and if they wanted to speak against it at the meeting and why I shouldn't be doing it. And they said I brought in too much traffic to the area. The reason why people like living out here was because we want a lot of traffic. I was bringing in too much traffic. And so I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it anymore. And so the building that I'm at is 21,000 square foot inside, 15 acres outside. A blessing from God. I got it at an absolute deal. And then everything worked out with the county or the town. And they said I could continue to still do it, but I'd already purchased the building. And then plus to stay married, my wife would send me pictures. And if it was beautiful, it'd be 60 to 80 people at my house every day training. And my wife's sending me pictures. I can't even get out of the yard if it was an emergency. All these people got me blocked in. And so to keep peace at home, it was a blessing to get the building and transfer everything over there and out of my backyard and stay married.
Sure. Running a gym and hosting these competitions, obviously they are a labor of love and the attention that you come from. But there is a piece of balancing running a business and having it be a labor of love. So, how are you balancing those two worlds, of keeping the community spirit accessible to UBW, as well as making sure it grows financially without it losing that like backyard friendliness?
This is the part that I was telling you before we started recording. I could tell you what not to do if you want to have a successful gym financially. This is the part that I'm really good at it. Everybody I tell, they're like, "You lost your everlasting mind." I try to keep no barrier from anybody being able to come to the gym. And we got 24-hour access at our gym. You can come anytime you want to, put your code in, come and go. And then we have classes naturally, but ours is $30 a month, unlimited. Is that not too cheap?
Oh, wow.
And so you can't make any money, but it takes a barrier down because I got a lot of people that can't afford it. I got a lot of people that can afford a lot more. And then I have some sponsors that cover people even at the $30 that can't, if they can't pay it, we make sure they still come and they're sponsored. The financial part, I'm not the person to talk to. I can teach you how and tell you how to love on people, encourage people. And I hired a gentleman from Kentucky. He's running the kids program. He's been with me since September of last year. And he's got more energy than probably 5 kids. He's very creative. He's a little different, but kids love different. And his name is Josh Ryan, and he's doing an incredible job with the kids. I still teach the adult classes, and they look at me like I'm really good. Adults do. Some of these kids I used to teach, and they used to come to me and ask me stuff. Now they're blowing me out of the water.
Yeah.
And especially the teenage kids. And I'm like, I go in there and they want me to do stuff that they can do. And used to, I'd be saying, y'all try this, and they couldn't do it. It's switch roles. And so I can't even handle their classes. But the little kids, naturally, y'all know yourself, running a gym, kids is where your money's at if you're trying to be financially stable. And that you got to speak into these kids' life. And we pray with them before class, after class. And I'm big on hugs, and I make them all. And naturally, Josh does the same thing, make them hug and tell each other you love each other. And then we make them hug their parents and tell them they love them. And so many of the parents, the kids didn't hug them. They felt funny. Now the parents, you wouldn't believe my kid gives me a hug before he goes to school in the morning, tells me he loves me. And that means more to me than they don't never learn how to do an
Right.
obstacle. To me, that's what I get the satisfaction out of, is just seeing them be love and show love.
I love that.
That's something they'll take with them, whether they stick with ninja or not. But that's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So next year, and you always run your UBW competition on Memorial Day weekend. Any particular reason why?
When I first did it, it was Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend. And so people were normally off out of school so they could travel. I can't say I prayed about it and God said, oh, do it Memorial Day weekend. I wish I could say that was what it was. But I tell you what I do, you'll like this. I pray before I ever post a competition, I pray about it. And you can ask anybody, 'cause I want to make sure the weather's going to be good and everything. Y'all, every competition we've had, it has been absolutely beautiful while we're running the competition. It can be done running outside courses and as like the world come to an end, rain like Noah, you should have built a boat like Noah did. And then we have to go back outside to do stage 3 and the sun comes back out. God has showed us favor and we've been very blessed. People joke around, they're like, man, this bad storm's coming, and it split and go right around us while we're running the competitions. And naturally, when you do something outside, you're subject to the weather. But other than the praying about the competition before I post them, that's it. Memorial Day weekend, people out of school and able to travel. And thank God that they've made UBW a landing pad for their first getaway for the summer. We have a lot of people come and camp, 30 to 50 campers, depending on the year. And a lot of people in tents, and I let people just sleep in the gym, whatever they want. We ain't like a regular gym. You can play on anything you want to play on before it's time to run, and we don't care. And because we want it to be like Woodstock for 3 days, you love on people and play and get your money's worth.
No, that's so cool.
Woodstock within reason.
Yeah, within reason. No drugs, no alcohol, and
Yeah.
no premarital sex.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to be clear, that's awesome.
That's one of the things that people brought up about your competition is that they love that they can play on the obstacles ahead of time. And that's something that's unique because you don't get that at other competition experiences, right? It's like you just got to show up and ninja and be ready. But it's cool that you have the opportunity to try it and test out these obstacles. And I'm sure that makes the competition experience better for the people that are there that do it. This next upcoming 2026 Ultimate Backyard Warrior, any plans or what can we look forward to this coming year?
I'm going to speak this into existence because I believe our power is in our words.
Yeah.
And things have been working behind the scenes that this will be our first time since 2021 that we're giving a car away. We're going to give a car away again in 2026. And the prize money is going to get upped. And these guys are going to come back and build even. I don't know how they can come up with something even greater or more spectacular than they did this past Memorial Day, but I know they will, and they're all in. So I look forward to seeing what they're going to come up with. And we're going to go we're paying out 3 people now. We're going to go to at least 5 or maybe even more on payouts. Money brings people in.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking about the giveaways before, because if I remember right, now when you're saying car, and we're not getting into details, but in years past, you gave away a Porsche.
We did. It was a used one.
We don't have to go into details, but it was a Porsche.
Yeah, we did a Porsche. It had 2,000 miles on it, Maserati.
Okay.
And the Maserati, I did things a little different. I wanted to make the competition free. So I raffled off tickets for the Maserati. I did 999 tickets. You could buy a ticket or not, but the competition was free for you. And so people bought tickets, bought one, bought none, bought 10. And then we did the pick 3, the lottery pick 3 that comes out every day. Whatever the lottery pick 3 was for that Sunday after the competition, that's who won the Maserati. So I've done different things trying to be creative to make it free. I had always tried to, if I can, facilitate people getting a discount on places to stay or either make it free. Wesleyan College, before COVID, gave us their dorm rooms for everybody to stay at for free. And then after COVID, it got a little dicey and scared. So things are coming back to reality to where I believe this coming year we can get close back to what before COVID UBW was, with prize money, cars, and even able to offer people free places to stay. People got money, gas, flights, travel, whatever it is. And it's a big commitment, especially when you got people coming from the West Coast coming over here. And so I like to minimize people's costs so they can just come and experience it and hopefully find Christ if they don't know him.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, what does ninja mean to you?
Oh man, Ninja, I'm gonna give you a couple things. I don't know. I believe it's a lifestyle change. It's an opportunity to be your best. And naturally, in my eyesight, I think it's an opportunity to love and encourage and lift up people. To me, I believe it's an avenue for me to show people what Christ is supposed to look like, what love is supposed to look like. And I'm thankful for the opportunity that American Ninja Warrior gives all of us to just have a platform to lift up the show naturally, but to lift up what we believe in. And I believe in Christ. And I'm thankful for whatever I am as far as nobody, on the show to somebody may look up to. I'm just thankful for those opportunities that Ninja's given me that I can just give back to somebody else through love.
Mike, UBW is very popular, very talked about, and you're a legend in the ninja community. So it was an honor.
Jake from State Farm, it was an honor to speak with you. And you've got it figured out with the gyms. And I probably need to have a personal conversation on what I need to do to actually break even. I hadn't seen a break even
Start
point.
with that $30 membership.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe raise more sponsorships, but because I don't want to create a barrier from any. Because we have a lot of kids that financially they're strapped and or families are strapped, and I don't want it to be a barrier. Like karate around here is $140, $150 a month for karate classes and stuff like that, and dance classes. And I know I'm not in line, but you got it figured out. I just call you when I need to borrow some money.
Oh yeah,
And
right, yeah.
Mike, and I just have to ask because you seem uniquely gifted at this. What advice would you have to people that are trying to get sponsorships for their kids to get to Worlds, for their gym, or for maybe other leagues that they're trying to get sponsorships? Like, what's your secret sauce?
You asked, and I've had quite a few ninjas. This like Caden Lesbick. He called me when he started doing Ninja Intensity, trying to do competitions, and I went and helped him raise some sponsorships. And Sam Folsom's asked me at the barn and stuff. Naturally, you have to believe in yourself, and you got to believe in whatever product you're selling. Whoever that believer is, you know what I'm saying? For me, I believe in UBW and what it does and my passion, it's easy to go talk to somebody. Naturally, you got to know the ins and outs. I retired from the car business, so I know the car business really good. And a lot of people always think, I got a 501c3, it's a tax deduction. But most companies and most businesses get you offset with advertisements if, like, just say Toyota, Honda, or a manufacturer gives them advertisement money. And so if you say, look, you look at it as a sponsorship with advertisement, put their name on something, they get to write the advertisement off 100%. A 501c, if you do a donation, you only get to write a percentage of it off. So you get 100% write off if it's an advertisement. Plus, if it's advertisement, then they get co-op from the manufacturers that sometimes pays for it all. Just like the cars I give away, General Motors pays for those cars for me to give them away. Every car a new car store sells, they get allocated a certain amount of money. So when they give it away as advertisement, General Motors pays for that car to be given away, even the Porsche. General
Yeah.
Motors paid for it. And most people don't know that. They think 501c3, your sponsorship, it's a donation. You can't even write 100% donation off, but you can on advertisement. So I would say plug it for advertisement, put your name on something, if it's a cup, a shirt, one of the little draw bags, just something that you can say, I did it, a banner, and then make some advertisements. We get a lot of sponsorships from people from giving us obstacles and stuff. So I always try to love on them and make videos and lift them up, let them know we're thankful. And I always put banners up where I know the hottest runs are going to be. The elite people are going to get that their videos are going to get shared. And like Jesse Graff, I put up 3-ball climbing video banner on stage 2 where I knew Jesse Graff was going to get to. She goes through it. Her video gets 15 million views. And Steve from 3-ball climbing calls me up and says, Mike, if you ever need anything, you just call me. It's yours. Naturally, you try to, in that aspect, but in whoever you're talking to, trying to get them to donate, they need to talk to somebody who really knows what they're selling. If you're selling your gym, selling your product, and the passion behind it, and then I think they can feel it. It ain't just a sales call and say, hey, would you donate? Put your name on a drawstring bag, a cup, or banner. And I always hit people high. I'm gonna tell you this: I used to have $10,000 donation, 5,000, 2,500, 1,500, 250. So I send this donation sheet out to a bunch of different people, and this was my second UBW. I sent it out, and I gave you tickets because I used to charge for spectators. So if you did a $10,000 donation, you got 100 tickets. If you did a $5,000 donation, you got 50 tickets for you to pass out to employees, whatever, and so on. So this guy comes to me and he gives me a check in an envelope. I'm not going to open it in front of him and see what he gave. And he said he was doing 5. And so I go get him 5 spectator tickets. And he said, I think it's supposed to be more than that. And I was like, no. And he said, I thought it was supposed to be 50. And I'm like, no. So I go get the donation sheet and I said, 5, thinking 500 is what he gave me. And that's 5 tickets. He said, no, I gave you a check for 5,000. I about had a heart attack. That's the first person who ever gave me a check for 5,000. I about had a heart attack. I was like, oh my God. Naturally, I'm not going to open it up and look at it in front of him. But he said 5. So I thought 500. Yeah. And so I'm so used to people wanting to give 250, 500, or 1,000. I felt like I hit a home run at 1,000. So my whole mindset changed. And I'm like, I'm selling myself short, making me have to hit more people up at 250 to 500. I said, I'm going to go for 10 to 5 grand. Naturally, say gold, silver sponsor. People like that stuff to get their names. I got Davenport Auto Park. They're a Honda GMC dealer, and they're on everything I got at the gym. They're my big sponsors. And Rocky Mountain Toyota, big sponsors. I'm going to say me. I think everybody always looks at their value, and we think our value is less. So it surprises us when somebody else sees our value at 10,000 or 5,000, even though we're selling ourselves and what we're doing. I changed my outlook and I look for 10,000 to 5,000. And before I leave, I'll let somebody give 500 or 1,000. I'll say, we got these just to get something. But anyway, that's my spiel if that helps anybody.
No, I love that. Thanks for the insight there. And so how can people learn about UBW? What's the best way to reach you if listeners want to reach out?
I would love to say you can reach me, but for instance, I'm hard to find. I'm bad on social media. I do post stuff, but I don't even look at comments. So I'm bad about it. But naturally, Facebook, if you send a message to UBW Fit, Josh pays attention to that. And naturally, if you send an email, Josh pays attention to the email. If you send anything to UBW Mike Cook, good luck. I apologize in advance because I'm bad for, I normally post closer to Christmas for Memorial Day competition. And naturally, anything that goes through Ninja Master, it does ping me and you get a quick response to it.
Sweet. Awesome. Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your insights with us.
I do thank y'all. And I want to end with, I love you, but Jesus loves y'all more. I hope y'all have a blessed beyond measure day.
Amen.